I still remember it to this day, the first time I ever saw a Miyazaki movie. My family had freshly moved into our house, and we had piles of CDs that my dad had used to illegally upload movies from his computer. Except, he was not the best at pirating, since a lot of the movies were dubbed in foreign languages. So there I was, at the age of 5, watching Princess Nausicaä in German dub. Even if I couldn't understand any of the dialogue, the film kept me entranced. I had never seen such compelling and effective world building. Little did I know, this was the start of my love for Studio Ghibli. Now at the age of 17, Miyazaki still stands as one of the greatest directors of animation I have ever witnessed. He masters the hard task of world building through his great attention to detail. His use of world building achieves an immersive reality which brings fantastical elements to everyday life. In a way, it's like the creative imagination you had as a child presented on a screen. Miyazaki believes that although animation may depict fictional worlds, its core must have a certain realism. To achieve this, one must fabricate a light that seems so real, viewers will think the world depicted might exist. I believe that with the help of sound and movement, Ghibli is able to attain its dream effect. Sound can do so many things. We use it to build tone, atmosphere, and worlds. It gives animation its texture, a sense we usually feel with touch, but when done well, it can be felt with our ears. That might sound a bit odd, but sound helps contextualize what we look at. It gives us a dialogue with no words. It's a language that needs no translation. That's why even if I couldn't understand the German dialogue when watching Nausicaä, I could thoroughly follow the story thanks to the information given through oral world building. Each film has its own unique sound. This sound develops through the film, but also encompasses its theme. It creates the foundation of the world the viewers are about to explore. In My Neighbor Totoro, the atmosphere feels airy, whimsical, and isolated. Nature takes priority here. Joe Hisaishi is a talented music composer that has worked on countless Ghibli films. He has mastered his knowledge of sound and how it should be used. He believes that it is important to allow the viewer to breathe if you want to create a realistic world. Therefore, music in Ghibli films is played at its core scenes. The audience doesn't get numb to it since it is used purposefully and strategically. For instance, in this Totoro clip, the tasteful use of music here makes it significant when it leaves. Comparatively to Disney movies, music drowns out its visual atmosphere. The studio fears using natural sounds since American audiences don't like the feeling of being removed from the dream of the movie. You hear music in the background in every frame of these films. It gets boring, overused, and derails the realistic attributes of the world. When creating a complex soundscape, many elements work together at the same time. The Nausicaä soundtrack gives the listener a lot of variety. There are electric guitar sounds and metallic noises, mixed with the crackling of bugs, connecting the alien life to reality. Furthermore, there are simpler scenes with noises similar by association. In these clips, we see how Nausicaä blends the organic sounds with the inorganic, backing the immersive reality of the story. A synthesizer, gentle nature sounds, and metallic bugs all range but come together brilliantly in the service of an intellectually engaging and emotionally affecting film. Anytime Miyazaki and Joe Hisaishi collaborate on a movie, they adhere to a strict system in which at pre-production, Miyazaki would offer Hisaishi a basic storyboard with 10 key terms to base his work off of. Miyazaki is known for being very strict and picky, but this tedious labor proves to pay off. We usually don't notice the little things we do, but our behavior is unique to ourselves and is what builds us as people. In Miyazaki's movies, he makes the normal stand out by honing in on the realistic, tactical, effortless movements of life. Though Ghibli is not the first to do so, they consistently achieve great interactions between characters and their environments. This helps grounding us within the reality of the film world, even if that world is far removed from our own. Miyazaki is very strict when it comes to the animation of his characters. At times when his employees don't draw to his liking, he will go over and redraw the scene on his own. He makes sure that movement is anchored in real-world observation.
ちょっとね、振り向き方がね、大人になってる。こういやだからもっと座敷を見ればわかりますけど、そんなキッと向かない。 込みでしょ。
はい。
ただそこまで機敏じゃないんですよ、生まれたばかり。CG のスタッフ見てて、何でも音がすると思ってるけど、音がすない。意志がないからですよ。動きっていうのはニュートラルなもんじゃなくて、意志なんて筋肉を動かすのは意志だからね。
He is able to communicate his vision with precision. This process is tedious, but leads to great results. To have a good sense of movement and its purpose, let's look at running. To convey the illusion of running, animators use a run cycle that depicts running strides, a sequence of 4 steps per second, 6 frames per stride. It's the standard guideline, yet every character in Ghibli runs a bit differently, depending on their circumstances and their reason for running. This gives the animators an opportunity to communicate something about that character, since movement is unique to one's personality. Let's look at Ashitaka in Princess Mononoke. When he moves, all his steps seem calculated and energy efficient. He seems confident in his strength and runs with determination. This makes his soldier identity stick out. Meanwhile, San runs sporadically. Her arms go forward in a position of attack. We can't tell where she'll go next. She turns and jumps around like a cow when in combat. These movements show how her upbringing with wolves altered her physically and made her inherit the attributes of her pack. Crowds of people are not a miserable, faceless bunch. They make up a society, so draw them properly. We tend to forget about the action beyond the foreground, but the background is as important. All the characters in the back have spirit and personality. It creates a community of real lively people, a society we are familiar with and can relate to. Seeing the characters in the background doing their task give us a sense of familiarity, makes us believe somewhere beyond our world they exist. This singular scene in The Wind Rises took over 15 months to animate. It is only 4 seconds long, but tells us so much. All the villagers are desperately trying to leave their burning town. There are those who can carry huge bags of personal items, while others are old, cannot move without help, and must abandon everything. A mother carrying her 2 babies. A man trying to calm down his horse. Everything moves so fast, it is hard to catch on to the small details. But when weaved together, they create a very dynamic scene similar to the ones we experience in real life. Comparatively, when we get a cheap version of a crowd filled with CGI faces with looped reactions, the crowds feel dead and forceful, which derails our views of an immersive reality. Miyazaki reminds us to appreciate the normal elements of life. What might seem boring or plain in real life suddenly becomes something worth romanticizing. His films tell us to fall in love with the ordinary and to appreciate things that make us live. Miyazaki tends to get credited for most of the work, but it is completed in collaboration with various artists. We tend to overlook and underappreciate the labor-intensive nature of animation. Animators toil tirelessly, pouring their hearts and souls into each frame, bringing life to drawings and computer-generated imagery. Their dedication lies into perfecting every detail from the subtlest expressions to the grandest landscapes. Understanding and appreciating the effort behind exceptional animation allows us to embrace the reality that good work is an amalgamation of dedication, expertise, and time.